Izzo, you already know what time it is, man. It's your boy, Grown Man Business. And listen, you could tap in or you could tap out, but you know my slogan. You know what I suggest, and I suggest you tap in. So let's get right into it. In the Brooklyn Pastor, you are the topic of discussion, my G. The Brooklyn Pastor, you are the topic of discussion, my G. So let's get right into it. And recently, you feel what I'm saying? A pastor out there in East New York, out there in Brooklyn, was robbed at gunpoint. Oh yeah, it gets deep, it gets wicked, and it's always deep in a rap when you scratching the surface. And listen, here at Grown Man Business TV, we definitely scratching the surface. And like I said, there was a Brooklyn pastor that was robbed in front of his congregation at gunpoint. Yeah, he was relieved of his chains, probably some of his money, whatever was in his pockets, his jewelry, all of that. All of that. Now, I know it got your wheels turning like, wow, somebody robbed a pastor? We are at the day and time where somebody would come into a church with a loaded firearm and rob a pastor? Well, yeah. We at that day and time. It is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. But, you know, this particular pastor, young black male, you understand what I'm saying? Head of his church, leading his congregation. You know, he's good for wearing that good Gucci, that good Fendi, that Balenciaga. You understand what I'm saying? Those VS diamonds and them Cuban link chains with big charms on them. Or he's known for wearing all kind of, you know, materialistic things within the church, showing off his riches, showing off his wealth within the church. I mean, he's taking it to another level, almost as if he's a celebrity and he's a pastor at the same time. These things you got to be very careful with. You got to be very careful with when you're down here and you're playing within the realm of the higher up, the most high. Yeah, you can't play with the universe. You can't play with the most high. Yeah, it gets deep, it gets wicked, and it's always deeper than rap when you scratching the surface. And here at Grown Man Business TV, we are definitely scratching the surface. And that Brooklyn pastor that was robbed at gunpoint, I mean, you gotta know that it is what it is, and it'll be what it's gonna be. So here at Grown Man Business TV, you already know how we do. We coming from multiple different angles, my G. We coming from multiple different angles, my G. And that leads me and segues me into my first angle, my G. My first angle. And that's sacrilegious. Blasphemy. Yeah, all those things intertwined. Now, I've never been really big on church or religion, but just like everybody else, for the most part in this culture, we was raised in the church. And one thing you learned about the church, one thing you learned about the congregation is something called sacrilegion and blasphemy. You understand? You know, when you come into the church as the pastor with all this materialistic stuff on, when you come into the church as a pastor, you know, hoping to be a celebrity, a false idol, you gotta know you're no longer under the protection of the universe. You're no longer under the protection of the Most High. You have now become a false prophet. And I mean at the highest level, because celebrities are false prophets. Celebrities are false prophets. You know what I'm saying? You know, false idols. But they are within the music business. When you take it a step higher and you come into the church, you come into religion, you are no longer under the protection of the higher, that, you know, the Most High of the universe. And it's not just this particular, you know, pastor. We have all of these pastors that run these mega churches. They are all false prophets. Yeah, they are all in the dead eye of the devil, if that's what you want to call that negative energy. So when you come into these churches and you come around these people that's going through hardship, that's living in the ghetto, that don't know how they gonna eat tonight, that don't know how they gonna pay their rent tonight, and you're not helping them in no way. You're not giving food. You're not helping the community in no way. In due time, the community is gonna eat you. Yeah. The poor will always eat the rich. The poor will always eat the rich at the end of the day. Always remember that the poor will eat the rich. Once they get hungry enough and the rich get fat enough, they get complacent and the poor, they come in. So this pastor's got comfortable. He's that comfortable wearing $200,000-$300,000 chains in a congregation in Brooklyn, New York. Nah, my G. Nah, my G. You must have forgot who you was dealing with. You must have forgot that the universe is always checking your intentions, always watching. So it is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. So you already know how we do here at Grown Man Business TV. You feel what I'm saying? We coming from multiple different angles, my G. We coming from multiple different angles, my G. And that leads me and segues me into my second angle. My second angle. And that's the false prophets. The false prophets that are roaming this earth right now. I mean, it's to a level where you can't, it's too many to count. They are too many to count at this present moment. The number of false idols. Watch these celebrities. Watch these pastors. How they yearn for the roar of the crowd. How they get in front of the crowd and they hold that mic up for the crowd to repeat every word, for the crowd to chant every word. Same thing with these pastors, man. Same thing with these pastors. Watch how they get in front of the crowd dressed up, yearning for the roar, yearning for the roar of the crowd, for the celebration of life off of his words. You know, they get a kick out of watching the congregation just foam at the mouth, waiting for his words to spew out. You understand what I'm saying? Now, again, we are made in the image of God. So when we get a taste of what God feels like, when we get a taste of what the real is, what the full gratification of being worshipped feels like, it's intoxicating. Yeah. Being worshipped becomes intoxicating and it blinds you. It blinds you, my G. So you got to know, when you got a pastor and he got a whole Finley blazer on that was 20 bands. He got a Gucci outfit on that was 35,000. You got to side eye that. You got to watch him. And it been like this for years. I remember the first time, I really got a dose of it. I was a youngster. My mama took me to church. And in the pastor parking lot, there was a brand new Lexus. What is it? It was a Lexus 460. Big dog. I'm talking big ass Lexus 460. And it was a Lexus truck for the wife and for the husband, for the pastor, for the first lady and for the pastor. And I never forget, because my mama didn't know what those cars was, but I did. I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it, because everybody in the church was basically poor, but these guys was rolling like that. Always keep your eyes open and your head on a swivel, even when it comes to these pastors. So you already know how we do here at Grown Man Business TV. You feel what I'm saying? We coming from multiple different angles, my G. Coming from multiple different angles, my G. And that leads me and segues me into my third angle. My third angle. And that's, what would Jesus do? If you are doctrinated with the word of Christ, the word of Jesus, what would he do in that position? Well, when Jesus was roaming the earth, they say in the good book that he went amongst the prostitutes, he went amongst the gangsters, and he broke bread with them, and he brought them to the light. He came to where they were and brought them to his Father. He broke bread with them. He fed them. He made sure they had things. He performed miracles. Right? He didn't come into the area with the gangsters and the killers with the with the best fabric on. He didn't come around the gangsters and the prostitutes with the best car, the best house, and the best clothing. He actually resembled them. He looked just like them. And like I said, being worshipped, it becomes intoxicating. So you got these pastors going amongst the people, just like God said and Jesus did. But they got on all the Gucci and all the Fendi and all the Balenciaga and all the Moncler on while they doing it. They got $500,000 worth of jewelry on while they doing it. They taking collections while they're doing it. Ask me, my personal opinion, all the pastors should be robbed. All the churches need to be ran up in and plundered. We need to go through all of it. It is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. But I feel like he is the first of many. If you want to rob something, rob them. They robbing God and they robbing you. So it is what it is. I have no hard feelings about what happened to that pastor. I think he got a taste of his own medicine. He got robbed. Is what it is. It'll be what it's going to be. So I'm not going to make this a long one. You already know how we do here at Grown Man Business TV. You feel what I'm saying? You can tap in or you can tap out, but you know my slogan. You know what I suggest? And I suggest you tap in. I suggest you tap into this Grown Man Business. I suggest you tap into this Grown Man content at all times. You already know what it is. Straight off the brick and to the bottle. Straight, raw, pure, uncut, no extras, no preservatives. We not sugarcoat nothing, and we not dressing nothing up. Hey, Brooklyn pastor, we giving it to you straight raw, my G. The Brooklyn pastor, we giving it to you straight raw, my G. And like I said, man, blasphemy. You understand? Sacrilegious. When you come up in those churches with all that Finley and all that designer on, with all that money, and you robbing the people, you taking from the congregation. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, secondly, false prophets. You know, the feeling of being worshiped is addictive. The feeling of being worshiped is the closest you can get to the feeling of God. I mean, the Most High God. And it becomes intoxicating. It's something that we are not supposed to dwell in. You know? Watch your celebrities. Watch your pastors. Watch how they yearn for the roar of a crowd. And last but not least, hey, it is what it is. God didn't come amongst the people. Jesus didn't come amongst the people dressed like that. Jesus didn't come amongst the people flaunting and styling on them. He performed the miracles. He fed the people. He got them drunk with wine. He did a whole bunch of things, but he didn't style on them. So any pastor that's moving like that pastor deserves to be, relieved of their jewels, relieved of their money, relieved of their position. I would suggest any and everybody to run up in them churches, flash on them, take everything up out of there. Because I'm going to tell you this, they are not under the protection of the higher, the Most High. They're not under the protection of the Most High. They're not under the protection of the universe or Jesus or God or whatever you want to call it. That energy is real. And those false prophets are not under the protection. So it is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. Listen, man, you already know how we do here at Grown Man Business TV. You feel what I'm saying? You can tap in or you can tap out, but you know my slogan. You know what I suggest? And I suggest you tap in.